Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be painting the little skink for the Slann Starmaster. Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So we're going to start off with priming the miniature a grey sear from Games Workshop, and then we're going to be base coating all of the skin areas with Temple Guard blue, thinned quite a lot with some water just so it's more like a wash than an actual layer of paint. And we're just going to go over all of the skin and get it all blocked in. It might need maybe one or two layers, but you know, use your own judgment on that one. Oh, had a lot of fun painting this little guy. I never realised how fun skinks could be, and I went in with a plan, but I didn't really execute it as well as I wanted, especially with the scales at the back. You'll sort of see me changing it every now and again throughout the video, and there's nothing really definite for it. But basically I ended up settling on giving it a contrast layer of tarragon turquoise, and then I dry brushed it with some Sotek green just to sort of finish it off. But yeah, there was no real sort of plan for that. So just go around making sure you get all this in. I'm just using a size 1 from Rosemary CO series 33. There's a link in the description if you want to grab yourself some. Absolutely amazing brushes, and I'm really looking forward to trying out my series 323 for edge highlighting. I've heard that they're very similar to the Winsor & Newton series 7 brushes, so looking forward to getting them on the table and giving them a go. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. We're slowly but surely getting to that 2,000 mark. And yep, like the video, drop a comment and ring the bell. It all helps with the algorithm, and that is what is good. So using some very thinned down Sotek green, we're going to be soft shading all of the recesses of the model, especially in and around the face, just to get those shades in before we come back up and tidy it up with a layer of Temple Guard blue again. It can be as rough and as messy as you want at this point, because we will be coming back and tidying up the model. Like I said, I've had a lot of fun painting this, and would be definitely tempted to doing a lizard man for myself in the future, because they are really super fun to paint, and I reckon they really work well with contrast paints and sort of like glaze painting. So here we are. I'm just coming back in now and just tidying everything up with some Temple Guard blue, just to sort of get those transitions and sort of tidy up any of the sort of splotchiness that maybe the soft shade has left. As you said, like, here we are. I'm now washing the scales with some Sotek green, and again, like, I didn't at this stage, I was sort of like still playing around with what I wanted to do with the scales. I was even contemplating doing them red at one point, but I do get the sort of red in later on to sort of like give that nice little bit of contrast in there, because there's a lot of blues going on in this little model. But yeah, like, yeah, it's not the best. Sometimes I wonder if I do need to sort of script my videos, because I can go off on a tangent, and I think that's the beauty of miniature painting. We can just sort of decide on the fly of what we want to do and what we're not going to do. So I've added a little bit of white into the Temple Guard blue just to bring it up a little bit. If you don't have, or you're not comfortable with mixing paints, then Games Workshop do a series of paints that are a little bit brighter than the previous one. So in regards to Temple Guard blue, you could use a Baharoth blue, which is basically what I'm almost using here. And I'm just going round and I'm just picking out like the little edge highlights and the little grooves and the little notches on the skin and the body. So I made a little bit of a mistake here. Those highlights are a little bit too thick. So what I do is I clean off my brush and I just come in and I just feather that out and smooth it out. And a little bit of wet into wet blending. Really quick and simple. And it just tidies it up a little bit. And then I go crack on with the rest of the edge highlights. So again, I did more white into the highlight mix, and I'm just coming in and picking up more of the prominent areas, sort of really focusing on sort of the sharper points to the face and the more upper parts, just to sort of just pick them out and just make them look more pronounced. At this stage, it's probably about a 50-50 mix of Temple Guard blue and white from Vallejo. But if you're going to use Baharoth, then it'll probably be like maybe a 2-part Baharoth, 1 part white. So now we're going to do the eyes. So what I do, I get some Uriel yellow and some Scrag brown, and I do like a 50-50 mix of it, and then I just carefully just get the eyes. I really should have sort of zoomed in the camera for this, and I do that eventually, but I should have sort of just done that at the start. But I kind of got comfortable with the setup and just left it from there. So once all that's dry, then as you can see, I'm going to wash them with some Scrag brown, and this is quite thinned down with some water, and just making sure that I get it into the deepest recesses around the eyes. And then once that's dry, I'm going to come in with some Uriel yellow and just start to build up those highlights and bring up the brightness back to the eye again. And I'm really concentrating this on the uppermost part of the eye rather than the bottom, but also making sure that I keep the dark line between the eye and the blue brow, so I get that sort of darker part. And then everyone's fun part, the pupil, or in this case it's like a little black line. Yeah, this can be quite tricky, so just take your time, making sure that you thin the paint down a little bit and that you've got a good point on your brush, and just very carefully just draw that line in. If you've got magnifying glasses and things like that, it's probably best to use them as well. If not, you can do it by eye. But again, if you make a mistake, it's pretty easy just to go back over your previous mix and then just start again. So after highlighting it a little bit with some Uriel yellow and white, just to get those highlights up on either side of the pupil, I'm going to do the infamous white dot. And this takes quite a few times because it's really warm in my room, and my paintbrush is drying out quite a lot. So I'm having to come back constantly with paint just to get it to dot, but also not do it too hard to make a really big splodge, because that would just ruin the eye. But eventually I got there. It took about 2 or 3 attempts, but I got there. And what we're going to do now is just a final, more extreme highlight. This is basically 2 parts white, 1 part Temple Guard blue. It's almost like a blue off-white, and it's just picking out the final, more prominent features on the face, just to get them to stand out a little bit more, and then that just finishes off the skin tone. But you want to work around the whole model as well. Here I make another mistake, exactly like I did earlier, but I just cleaned off my brush and then feathered this out and just smoothed it out to kind of create like a little bit of a blend, which kind of worked out quite well. But yeah, just be careful and just take your time and don't rush. Thought I'd just keep that in just to show you how to fix any mistakes like that. Now for the orange, which is probably the worst camera angles ever. It's just so bad. But what I do is I'm basing the coat, the little thin Troll Slayer orange, and as you can see, my camera skills are amazing here. I really am applauding myself and giving myself a pat on the back of how great of a job I have of showing this being painted. Like, yeah, I apologize for that. It wasn't the best. I kind of was getting a little bit carried away with really getting into the miniature at this point and having a lot of fun. I kind of forgot that I was recording. I was just going to my default painting position rather than my recording painting position, because they are very different. But once you've got a couple of layers, it's taking about 2 to get a nice opaque finish. I've mixed in some phalanx yellow to the orange, and I'm just going to slowly start building up these highlights. And I sort the camera out at this point, so don't be too worried. So I've put it on and I'm just like feathering it out just to create that transition across the fin, as you can see. I really enjoyed painting these fins. I think out of all of the model, it was like my favourite part of the miniature that I enjoyed painting. It's very weird. So as you can see, I'm just constantly just going in, coming in, refining it, pushing it, and then smoothing that blend out to create that transition. And now I'm going to be doing a little bit of an edge highlight along the top of the fin underneath that that little sort of blue sort of spine, I think you could call it. Adding a bit more of the yellow, which is phalanx yellow is what I'm using, to the Troll Slayer orange mix. I'm now just going to slowly concentrate on the upper parts of the little fin and then just get those little edge highlights in. If you're feeling confident, you could even sort of like freehand yourself some patterns into these fins, but I would probably do that for maybe a display piece, not for a tabletop piece. But yeah, you could definitely have a lot of fun sort of doing a nice little pattern and things on these fins. Just getting that last edge highlight in on the bottom part. Again, this is just with the size 1 from Rosemary CO Series 33. So finally, with a little bit more yellow in, it's basically now 1 part Troll Slayer orange, 2 parts phalanx yellow, and we're just going to sort of focus on those edge highlights and that real prominent top corner of the fin, as well as the little edge highlight. You could sort of glaze like a darker colour into the bottom, but I figured that there was no point at this stage because it looked quite good as it is. Next, the gold. I get asked a lot of how I've done the gold here on the Slann Starmaster, and it's very simple. We're going to be base coating all of the gold areas with Retribution armor, making sure you get a good solid base coat. So I think it's taken me about 2 layers in total, and it's really warm, so it didn't take too long for it to dry. See, I made a mistake on there on the knee. I just wet my brush and then just wiped off the gold paint off the knee. And I've already blacked out the shaft of the spear as well. So just work your way around the model and pick out all of the gold stuff. Again, if you're having any problems, the box art is a really good place to go, or just sort of use your imagination. I do forget to do the 2 wristbands, and I go back and do them later on off camera. Okay, so now to get that sort of greeny tint, I'm using Tarragon turquoise, and it's thinned a lot with some water, and I'm just washing all of the metallic areas with this, making sure I get it into the deepest recesses as it's flowing in there. And then once it's dry, we're going to start highlighting this up. So what I do is I start mixing in some silver from Vallejo Model Air. This is by far my favorite silver. And I just start stippling this mix onto the raised areas of the shield. And you can see me sort of like pulling the brush over and doing an edge highlight. But I just want to create that sort of transition between the light and the dark on the metallic. It's kind of almost like a true metallic effect that I'm going for. As it was really dry and warm in the room, this paint taking not very long to dry, so you sort of see me going back in and mixing in a little bit more silver and just pushing that highlight a little bit more. Here I am now, I'm mixing in a little bit more, and then I'm just going to start coming back in and then stippling again on a higher part of the shield. So I'm now focusing up on that more upper part, and every now and again I will sort of do an edge highlight as well, like just to sort of just get the edges more pronounced. And I just had to use my new little wheel thing that I got off Amazon. Such a really cool thing. It arrived this morning and when I was filming everything else, so I just thought, had to get it on there and give it a whirl. Really quite happy with how that's worked out. So yeah, everybody, that is it done, and that is the skink done for everything I'm going to do in regards to YouTube content. There's a few little minor details that I'm going to do on it to finish it off, to hand it back to Steve, who hopefully will be bringing it to eternal glory on the fields of battle once he gets it in his hands, which, knowing Steve, he very much will. So I'm really, really chuffed. I've had a lot of fun painting this, actually. The lizard men are definitely quite different to paint. There's a lot of organic shapes and stuff like that on it, and it's really, really quite fun. And the skinks are really cool. I've actually kind of started to grow a little bit of a fondness for them, and maybe in the future I might even think about doing a lizardman army myself. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun with this, and I'm hope you've enjoyed it, and I will definitely see you in the next video. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, like and comment on this video, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And big shout out to the handful of guys that I've got over on my Patreon. You really do help, because it allows me to get a lot of supplies and stuff like that. Much appreciated, and thank you very much. And thank you to everyone else who has supported the channel so far by liking, commenting, sharing, and generally watching. You're all awesome. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.